So my name is Miguel. I am going to be sharing how you can use cookies to work with your secrets in Postman. So let's talk about a couple hypothetical scenarios why this might be important. So let's suppose we have a production environment and we actually want to log in with our production account and we forget to remove it. Or we working with a collection that says public, and we think we're going to make a quick change, but something distracts us and we forget to remove something like an API key. So you may be resonating with these two scenarios. So let's talk about how we can hopefully avoid this and take advantage of what's built into Postman. So the feature sets that Postman has are really good. They do strong encryption at rest and in transit. You can take advantage of sessions that are variables that are used locally and not synced to the Postman cloud or to your team. You can use role-based access control to limit who has access to what. And Postman believes in the shared responsibility model. They do their part and they do it really well to secure the infrastructure and the application. And we have to do our part to be careful about protecting our account, limiting who has access to what, and being careful about what we share and how we share it. So this presentation is going to combine the sessions capability with cookies. So one of the main reasons that I'm presenting this is regarding encryption. As mentioned earlier, there's encryption at rest and in transit, but it's not encrypted in use. And that's obvious because we need to work with that data and needs to be in plain text for us to use it. So by using sessions to do temporary variables and using cookies as a local data store, we can work around those concerns. So you use sessions via the UI and scripts. So if something to keep in mind when working with variables is when you want to avoid setting that initial value. Once the initial value is set here in the UI, it is synced to the Postman cloud and it's shared with the team. As long as you keep it in the current value in the UI, it stays local to your machine. So with cookies, again, you can use it, set them up to the UI and access them with scripts. One little caveat to keep in mind is you have to whitelist it first before they're accessible in the scripts. So those are the concepts. Now let's put it all together. I have 3 demos set up for you. It's going to be a little quick, but don't worry. My understanding is these slides will be shared with you, and the slides have all the source code that I'm working with. So what I have here is I have 2 team members. There's one team member here using the Postman web version. And then here's another team member using the desktop client. I have no environment selected, and I have an API endpoint that I set up on AWS through the API gateway. It's protected by an API key, and it's calling a Lambda function that echoes the body back. So here in this, and it accepts GET and POST HTTP requests. I have the API key here embedded directly in the header. I'm going to make a request, and we see we get a 200 OK response. So that means that works. Just to confirm that the API is protected by the API key, let me avoid setting that header, and we get a 403 forbidden. So great. Our API is protected, and having the API key will result in a successful request. So obviously, this might not be the best way to store our secrets, hard coding it in there. One reason is the history, the request is shared. Furthermore, the history is captured within a team. So you can see here, it's even if we remove the header from save, it's captured as a record in the history here. So another way that we can do this is by using an environment variable. So here, set the name of the variable in here. I'm going to switch to an environment that has that variable defined. So here's currently set as a current value. And just to recap, the current value does not replicate to the cloud, so this team member does not see the value. Great. Now we can, so now let's run the request, and we see the variable resolved. We got a 200 response. Great. But you may be wondering about this approach. Yeah, we're avoiding syncing the cloud, but what about if I accidentally set that initial value and now it's shared to the cloud, and there's maybe some kind of business requirement or security requirement that suggests you do not do that. So here's where putting the secrets and cookies can help. Now let's switch the environment to match that folder. What I have done is rename the variable for the header to use camel case instead of dashes. There are no environment variables set, so we don't have to worry about replicating anything to the team. Now I went into cookies and I had created this fake domain to store the cookies. I had gone into the whitelist and allowed that to be usable through the scripts. I created a cookie and I put the API key in there. So as a pre-request script that gets run before the request is sent, it uses the Postman script to get the cookie from the domain and then set a local session variable with that matches the header variable name. And just to be on the safe side, let's explicitly destroy the variable at the end. So now that we have everything set up, the variable doesn't resolve, we hit send, and perfect. We get a 200 response. Great. But you may be thinking, well, the cookies has the API key secret stored in plain text on my machine. That may not work with my security requirements. Understandably, there's different requirements, just different scenarios. So let's go to this third situation. We're going to leverage the Postman Sandbox Crypto.js library to encrypt the API key and store the secret key as the cookie. We're going to, once we encrypt the API key, we're going to store the encrypted version of the API key into our environment variable. So I have here a local Node.js script that I wrote, and I'm exporting the API key here into the environment. I'm going to create a secret key using a universally unique identifier. I'm going to add that to the script, to the environment variable. I'm going to show you the script quickly. It's a very simple script. It imports the Crypto.js library, gets the environment variables, and it does an AES encryption. Now let's encrypt it. It's logged the encrypted value into the console. Now let's add that encrypted value into the environment. Now let's store the secret key, which is that UUID, as the cookie. And now we have the secret key as the cookie value. So we're avoiding the possibility of that secret key ever getting synced to the cloud. Great. The header will use the dynamic variable through Postman sessions that it'll create on runtime, and it'll get deleted afterwards in the test. So now let's run that. And we get a 200 response. Great. But for those of you who don't want Node.js or do not have it on your machine, whatever it is, you want to do everything within inside the Postman client, you can do that as well through Postman. So the pre-request script, as you in the previous example, got the environment, got the variable from the cookie. It's the same approach. It's just getting different information. And I've added this section here to encrypt the plain text secret and log it to the console. As we mentioned earlier, the history is logged. So I'm going to go into my own personal workspace so it does not get synced with team members. And I'll create a new request. I'm just going to paste in that code here. Now let's create a new UUID. So this will be our new secret key. Update that value. Great. Then let's get the API key. And we're going to plug it into the placeholder in the script that says data to encrypt. So now the data that encrypt is the secret key, the API key. The secret key here is used to encrypt it. And we're going to log that to the console. So let's clear the console so we can clearly see it. Let's run the request, and great, now we got the encrypted text in here. So now we can copy that. When we look at our team member, it's not, that request isn't in the history. Great, now let's, just to be extra safe, let's clear the history. Closing the console. Go back to the team workspace and open up that request. Now we're going to update the environment. Now, since it's an encrypted version of the API key, we can gladly share it with the team, because unless they have the secret key on their machine with the cookie, they won't be able to use that data. So it's okay to sync it now. The cookie's still there, and it has the latest secret key, so we're good there. So now let's run the request, and we get another 200 response. Those are three different, those are the situations of where you can leverage cookies to work with your secrets. Before I go, I just wanted to share a little bit about myself and what VeriToll does. I am a security engineer at VeriToll. I recently published a book on serverless security. And if you're interested, I blog on my website. Feel free to read my writing and contact me via my website or LinkedIn. VeriToll, we're a small startup in the toll road industry. We're looking to revolutionize the toll road industry by providing mobile and cloud source solutions. Our current platforms are the AutoToll and CrowdToll. And as promised, all the code that I used in the Postman scripts are in the presentation, so they'll be available when they get distributed. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found the presentation useful.
Well, thanks. That was a lot of great stuff, Miguel.
Thanks.
Do you have a public workspace or collection available for someone to just import or fork?
No, but that's a good suggestion. I'll consider doing that after the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll post it on my website.
Yeah. Do you have any contact information or Twitter to see if anybody from here wants to follow you or reach out to you?
Sure. Yeah, I do have Twitter. I forgot about that. So there's my Twitter handle in the chat. I'll give you my personal email address as well. My website has a subscribe form with a comment section. That's another way to get in touch with me, and then also LinkedIn.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been using environment values, initial and current all the time, but I never tried to use it as a cookie before. So that's really interesting take on it.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found it useful. Are there any questions, or there's still time for questions?
I saw one. Do you have a copy of the scripts?
They're in the presentation. I believe they're being distributed. I think I'll maybe put a blog post and share that there, or on my GitHub page as well.
Yeah, I think that will be good. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks can benefit from it. Does anybody else have any questions for Miguel for the next couple minutes? Yeah, I'm looking at your poll. Are you using cookies in your Postman requests? And most people put no. Trevor mentioned an OAuth solution would be nice too.
Oh yeah, that would be. I'll think about how to do that. Thanks for the suggestion, Trevor. I just remembered I do have an article on my website on the initial part, the second folder that I presented. I think I'll go and amend that and add the third part that had the crypto.js. And the article right now only mentions that you can use crypto.js, but it didn't have any code examples. So I think I'll do a part 2 and share the code.
Yeah. Yeah. Or else encrypting OAuth client secrets would be great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll think about how to do that. And then
So what is the website?
MiguelACayesMBA.com. And then my LinkedIn is Miguel A. Calles MBA, but it has dashes. My GitHub is also Miguel A. Calles MBA with dashes. The Twitter one's the only one that doesn't have the A because it was like long by one character, so I had to drop the A. Plug my book again. Sure, I'll post the website for that too. Thanks for the suggestion, Trevor. Serverlesssecuritybook.com, and that'll take you to the 3 different marketplaces that sell the book: apress.com, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble. Oh, and I guess since mentioning, I'll be launching serverlesssecurityguide.com soon. It'll have free mini courses on how to learn serverless security. So keep an eye out for that on my social media. Oh, I think you're on mute, Vu. Sorry.
Sorry. Oops. Have you ever blogged on Postman's blog before? I'm pretty sure you'll have a lot of great content to add to it.
No, I have not, but I just late last week I saw that there's a guest program there, so
Yes.
I'm thinking about that.
Yes, we recently had a top 5 securities article featured a week ago. I'll share it here.
Nice.
I just shared to the chat, see if anyone's interested. Okay, cool. Well, Miguel, that was really great. I learned a lot about security and just cookies in general. Yeah, the session's going to kick us out in the next minute or so. But for those who are sticking around, we'll have Dr. Ellen Ochoa in 15 minutes. Real life astronaut.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope
Yeah.
you found it beneficial and enjoy the rest of the conference and have a great, wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone.